Welcome everybody to the Next Level Contractor channel and One Exam Prep. And today we have a special guest, Andrew from One Exam Prep. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, no, thanks for having me back. Surprised you having me back. No, I'm joking,
Yes.
joking. I always have a
Well,
great time every time I'm here.
you're the expert, so we're going to talk to you today about Tennessee and specifically how to pass the Tennessee contractor exam in 2026. And you've kind of developed a first-time pass plan. So we want to take our viewers through that, and let's just jump right into it.
Awesome.
So let's talk about the business exam first, because in many cases in Tennessee, you do need two exams. Why don't you walk us through the basics on that?
Right. So Tennessee contractor's license required any job over 25K, right? Whether that's an electrical job, a plumbing job, whatever, you'll need a contractor's license. To get a contractor's license, you're going to have to pass two exams. You're going to have to pass your business law exam, right? The open book, multiple choice exam, 50 questions, and give you 140 minutes to get it done. It's with one book, the Tennessee NASDA Contractor's Guide to Business Law, Project Management. Everybody has to pass that exam, whether you're going to end up taking the electrical exam or the residential builder's exam or the plumbing exam.
Mhm.
Everybody's got to pass that business law exam.
Right. Got it. So it is open book. You are going to want to come into the exam with those books tabbed and highlighted, correct?
Absolutely. So 50 questions, 140 minutes. That means less than 3 minutes a question, which is not a lot of time, right? So let's
Mhm.
say you read the question and you know, oh, it's an IRS tax calendar question, right? Where's my
Mhm.
IRS tax calendar? Okay, maybe it took you somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds to get there, right? Now you're picking up your book and you're looking for the tax calendar, right? And now oh, it's not there. So you're thumbing through the pages. All of a sudden, your time's gone. You already wasted
Mhm.
more time than you have on that question. Where if your book's tabbed and highlighted, oh, that's an IRS tax calendar question. Oh, here's my tab for the tax calendar. Let me open right up to it, right?
Mhm.
Now, 20 seconds in, I'm on the page with the answer. And chances are the heading over the answer or the answer itself is going to be highlighted there for me.
Right. Right. And in terms of your typical recommended study plan, um, it sounds like it's a combination of getting those books tapped and highlighted, going through some exam simulators, and attending a live class.
Absolutely. So you can tab and highlight the books yourself. I would recommend just getting them tabbed and highlighted. It takes hours to tab and highlight these books properly. It's very time consuming. It hurts your neck, it hurts your back, right? And then with the
Mhm.
tabs, the little stickers that go around the perimeter, there's a very specific way to put them on, and they don't come off once they're on. They're permanently affixed, right? So
Mhm.
if you put them on, they're facing the wrong way, they're on the wrong page, they're overlapping, so you can't read them and they're useless anyway. you know, you're out of luck there. You can't get them
Mhm.
off. Right now, you got to cut them off. You got to get more tabs. It's a nightmare.
Mhm.
So the time you're away from your family or away from your job, highlighting this book, like just get it done already. Right? It's not
Right.
even worth it. And then as far as the study plan, you get the book tabbed and highlighted, and then you get an online course, right?
Mhm.
Online course is going to be laser focused in to your exam. In this case, the scope of your business exam. Nobody knows the exact questions you're going to see, but we know the scope. We know how many questions they're going to ask you from specific subject areas. So everything we do in the course, laser focused in on that scope. Now,
Mhm.
important thing to know, whether it's for the business exam or the trade exam, the business course not teaching you how to run a business, trade course not teaching you how to do your job. It's about becoming a master of referencing this book on the business exam, so you only take that test one time.
Right. Right.
And that 27 hours, that comes from a combination of attending live classes and doing the practice tests and quizzes on your own time. The
Mhm.
good news, that NASGO book, super user friendly book when you compare it to some of the other books that places are using for business finance exam. Like if you've ever seen a Florida contractor's manual, you'll know what I mean. Um, so super user friendly book, but you still have to master it.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at this. Tell me what we're looking at here.
So what we're looking at here is actually one exam preps course for the Tennessee business law exam, right?
Mhm.
This is what students see when they log in, that list of modules there. First thing they see is how to attend the live class, right? Live classes, excellent for a couple of reasons. One, you get that accountability, right? Where were you in class, right? You
Mhm.
make friends in class. Where were you in class? Two, you get that expert instructor feedback live, one-on-one. That guidance there is invaluable. So that's where it starts off, to attend our live classes over Zoom. Then right below that, videos of previous classes, on-demand library of our classes. So, everybody's got different schedules. You show up late, you leave early, you miss a week. You just want to watch classes in your downtime. Got the Netflix of exam prep right there for you 24/7. Then below that, the course is going to get into some foundational modules, right? This is the scope
Mhm.
of your exam. This is how you sign up for the exam. This is how you schedule the exam.
Mhm.
This is the test taking techniques, the strategies, how to organize yourself on exam day, what to expect on exam day. And then meat and potatoes of the course, of course, will be the practice tests. You see, we have the simulator here. It grades you, it times you, and if you could pause it real quick, Noah,
Mhm.
you can let it go. I want them to see if we get the question wrong, what happens.
Mhm.
So we get the question wrong here, and it tells us the exact page number of the book where we would have found the correct answer, right? Very, very beneficial as you're going through learning where to place the keywords. What keywords come from what section of that book? And just a quick note, you see like here it says 11-4, right? For what is 11-4? Well, the way the NASCO book, the way I mentioned user-friendly book, that means it's page 4 of chapter 11. So it's super easy to find. And just going through some more questions here, you'll see coming up, I believe, towards the end, Noah, is a math question. Now, not doing rocket science on these exams, but there will be some tax calculations, things like that. So, very important that the math is practiced and we have the math questions in our simulators. And if you get them wrong, not only is it going to tell you where in the book to find the formula, but it's going to show you there how to apply the formula, get the correct answer.
Got it. Very helpful. Great. All right. So let's talk now about the trade exam.
So,
Um, yeah, give us the basics on that.
after you can take the exams in any order you want. Um, but typically we would recommend get that business law first, get it out of the way, get familiar with the exam day routine with just the one book. Whereas your trade exam, you're going to have multiples of books. You'll have anywhere from 3 to, if you're going for a combined builder, you could have 18 or 19, right? And if you're going for a full commercial builder and you're going the NASCO route, you'll have 24, right?
Mhm.
So get business done first, get used to that routine with the one book before you go back to it with, up to 50 pounds of books potentially.
Right, right. You talk about 60 hours of time. What's the strategy around that?
So everybody's a little different, right? Especially with these
Mhm.
trade exams. Obviously, a
Mhm.
24 book exam is going to take more time to prepare for than a 4 book
Mhm.
exam, right? It's just more books to master is going to take more time, right? But what we found is if anybody on that 24 book exam, right? So it works for all the other exams. If anybody from seasoned builder, guy you can drop off with a hatchet in the woods, come back a day later to a 4 bedroom house, to my little cousin who she's probably never picked up a hammer in her life, right? She plays the piano and stuff like
Mhm.
that. If anybody does 60 hours in our live classes and in our course, they'll pass the exam. So that's where that number comes from. It's the catch
Got it.
all. Everybody will be successful if they do that.
Got it. And what are the exam tested patterns and why do they matter so much?
So what you're going to want to look for is when you organize yourself with your books on exam day, there's a couple different patterns. One, we just kind of saw with that NASCO book how they do the pages. They don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. They give
Mhm.
you the chapter number and then the page number, right? So understanding how that book is numbered, pattern number one. Pattern number two would be your codes and your OSHA book, right? Where everything's a crazy section number, section 100.05.26, right? We've all seen it
Mhm.
before. um Understanding how those numbers work, right, and how to use them to your advantage to reference those books efficiently, it is key, right? And then in addition to that, when you sit down to take a test with multiple books, knowing what questions are coming from what book, right? So if you sit there and you do all your OSHA questions, right?
Mhm.
Then you do all your international residential code questions instead of going one at a time. Like, oh, I'm in OSHA book for this question. Oh, this book is SDI manual. It's little pamphlet, right?
Mhm.
Where is little pam? And now you're searching in a stack of books, and now your time's gone, right? Because you're not organized. You didn't recognize the patterns.
Right. Okay. All right. So once you've passed your trade exam, we got the application next. So talk about the experience specifically. What type of experience does the board actually accept, and what experience does not count?
So in Tennessee, the board wants a letter of recommendation, right? That
Mhm.
letter of recommendation can be from a contractor that you've worked for. It can be from a satisfied customer or a building inspector, building official. Can't be from a family member, right? So, you can't just have your brother, say this guy's the man, give him a license, right? So you got to get that letter of recommendation, right? And then whether you're applying for a residential builder's license, a CMC A, the plumbing license, a CMC C, the HVAC license, right? You're going to have to list the projects you worked on, right?
Mhm.
And the dollar amount of those projects, which is key, right? So a couple things. Let's say we're going for CMC C, the HVAC license, right? Dollar amount of the project, right? Let's say I put down a project that was, $500 was the dollar amount on the contract, right? Well,
Mhm.
then in Tennessee, that doesn't have to be under a licensed contractor, right? But let's say I put down a project that was $26,000 on the contract, right? That has to be under a licensed contractor. So when you're filling out that experience section, you need that contractor's name, their license number, right? Make sure you have that. Additionally, if we're doing an HVAC application, right, the state doesn't care if I build a 200-story skyscraper, right? If I, did the foundation and the steel columns, right? That has nothing to do with HVAC. That's great if you want to be a commercial builder, but for the HVAC, the state doesn't care. So make
Right.
sure that the experience you show them is relevant to the scope of work for the license to which you're applying.
Right. Makes sense. This is unlike a lot of other states, but it's there needs to be CPA reviewed financials.
Yes, yes, great catch. So a lot of states it's either or, right? You can show them
Mhm.
CPA reviewed financials or give them a bond. Tennessee will accept the bond to supplement your CPA reviewed financials, but you must submit the CPA reviewed financials. It's a worksheet you fill out on the application. The CPAs in Tennessee, it's not their first rodeo. They know how to review it. They know what to do there. But
Mhm.
very important that that doesn't get overlooked, especially if time is of the essence, right? You don't want to leave that for the last.
Right. So get that done. Get that done early while you're preparing for the exams.
Yep, exactly.
What are some of the most commonly missed items that are causing applications to get kicked back?
Great question. Great question. So the one we kind of touched on, or the two we kind of touched on already, was you'll put down a project $30,000. You won't put down the name of the contractor or record their license number, right? Gets kicked
Mhm.
back, right? The way the application packet is, right? Um, and most folks won't miss it, but it's very easy to miss they just fill out the financial worksheet and not send it to a CPA, right? You either
Mhm.
missed that part, or maybe you think it didn't matter. It absolutely does. That's another common reason, is the financials weren't properly reviewed by the CPA.
Mhm. Right. And you got and one exam prep has an applications department that specifically works on Tennessee applications, correct?
Correct. They know exactly what the state is looking for. They know exactly how to word the experience, right? And they
Mhm.
know how to catch all the little things, right? So if you show them that project over 25K, they'll make sure that it's not going to get submitted without who was the contractor, who was the license number, right? When they go to submit your application, right? They're not going to submit it without the CPA reviewed financials. They're going to make sure you have it, right? Another big thing on the application that I actually didn't touch on, but I should, is the liability insurance. It's required, right? You have to submit your certificate of insurance. Okay. If that certificate of insurance, if it's not worded correctly, right, if it's not the right coverage, that's another very common reason that applications get kicked back, because it's not the right coverage, right? Um, but that's all stuff that our applications team make sure every T is crossed and I is dotted, so you have that peace of mind after you just invested all the time and energy into passing that business law exam, passing that trade exam. You spent hours in class, you spent hours in the simulator. Like when like you're out to dinner and somebody says the word lean, you think of the page number in your NASCO book, right? um
Yeah.
the last thing you want after you put in all that energy is, hey, or state, here's my application, and state says, oh no, you forgot this, or you need to be more specific on your experience wording here, and all of a sudden you're delayed. And we all know in construction, delays, they
Hmm.
cost money.
Right. Exactly. For sure. Well, that sounds like a nice, you gave us a nice clean plan here. Um, and, 2026 is around the corner. It's here already. And so definitely reach out to Andrew if you need any help with your Tennessee licenses. Andrew, anything last words you want to say?
Yeah, I'm here to help if you have any questions about the application, the exam process. This is what I do. I love helping folks. Make sure you mention TN 2026. We can do 5% off whether you're looking for a full book rental package or just a NASCO book. Happy to help you out.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again, Andrew, for joining, and we look forward to you on the next one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Subscribe for more of these videos coming up soon.